MAGA Republicans are absolutely losing it after the House Oversight Committee subpoenaed and published the birthday letter that Donald Trump sent Jeffrey Epstein in 2003 for Epstein's 50th birthday, which made it clear it was Donald Trump's signature. Obviously, Donald Trump sent it. It's exactly what the Wall Street Journal reported on. And now all of the MAGAs are like, nah, it's a forgery. That's not really Donald Trump's signature. It's an auto pen. It's the deep state. Like, well, what do you think that the estate of Jeffrey Epstein planted this 20 years ago, along with the 238 other pages of letters of Epstein's other friends, and we're like, let's make it super cryptic and talk about Enigma and our secrets never age and all of this, because that's how we're going to get Donald Trump in 20 years from now. Just stop with the stupidity. Admit that he sent it. Release the files. Enough of this crap already. But let me show you how MAGA Republicans are just completely losing it. And you have James Comer, who chairs the House Oversight Committee. He did not want to subpoena the birthday book, the 50th birthday book of Jeffrey Epstein, but got to give a hat tip to the new ranking member, Democratic Congress member Robert Garcia. He's showing what happens when you have like tough young leadership in positions of power in the Democratic Party, because he's been relentless on getting these files. Also, another hat tip to Ro Khanna. He's been great in pressuring things. And Republican Thomas Massie has been very strong as well in pressuring the release of these files. So this doesn't come from the DOJ, this 50th anniversary, this 50th birthday book of Jeffrey Epstein. It comes from Epstein's estate. And there's actually some real serious material in there that I've covered at length, in addition to Donald Trump's birthday letter to Jeffrey Epstein. There were Epstein's other friends who would have these like sicko, disgusting jokes where they would like hold a check with Jeffrey Epstein, of like a fake check that Donald Trump sends Epstein, like one of those big novelty checks that says like $22,000, and like to fully pay off the depreciation for some woman who was apparently with Epstein and Trump, and they were like mocking this young woman, or I'm not sure what her age was, that was like with Epstein and Trump. Just gross, just like gross behavior. There was another letter from another woman in the book that talks about how Epstein introduced her to Donald Trump. Like, his name was repeated in the book several times. And there was just other gross language in the book, and there were photos of children. I do a whole video covering what's in the book. Anyway, let's talk about the GOP losing it. So James Comer on the House Oversight Committee leads it. He did not want to release. He got outmaneuvered. Democrats just published the book. It wasn't like cherry picked stuff. It was like the book. It was the birthday book. So here's what James Comer said. It's appalling. Democrats on the Oversight Committee are cherry picking documents and politicizing information received from the Epstein estate today. Oversight Committee Republicans are focused on running a thorough investigation to bring transparency and accountability for the victims. And they try to always use the victims. No, you've re-victimized the victims. Like, they're not stupid. They know that when you call them a hoax, the way Donald Trump is, and when you say they're not to be believed, and when you turn over the fake filings that like the DOJ is, like the fake Epstein binder back in February, and then most recently reproducing 33,000 documents that were already previously produced, and the 2% of new documents were all like fully redacted. Like, the victims aren't stupid. The survivors aren't stupid. Like, they know what you're doing to them, and the American people aren't stupid. Maybe you have a MAGA mush brain contingency that's like, that was a forgery. That's not Donald Trump's signature. Like, despite the fact that it's so obviously his signature, there's so many other data points of other times he wrote signatures during that time period that say Donald that look just like that. He sent a letter to Keith Olbermann, to Hillary Clinton, to Rudy Giuliani, to Larry King. They're all identical. They all look like quite literally exactly like it. But you go on and you hear these excuses from these MAGA Republicans. Like, you have MAGA Republican Congress member from Tennessee, Tim Burchett, who says he thinks it's an auto pen and that this was a forgery by Biden. Here's what Burchett says. Here, play this clip.
I mean, anybody can do a signature. We've seen the auto pen's been used quite a bit with the Biden administration. So I've never known Trump to be much of an artist either. So I kind of draw that into question.
There's a history of him drawing.
The thing is, it's been there for 4 years, and now it's just come out. I just don't buy it.
You think really someone might have just forged this somehow? It's like
somehow it's so easy to do. I just don't buy any of it right now, because we have prior administration that's had a history of dishonesty, and they bring something like this out now. Why wouldn't they bring it out during the campaign?
Now, here you have MAGA Republican Congress member Jim Jordan, who infamously covered up sex assault and molestation at his prior job as an assistant wrestling coach before becoming a member of Congress. And Jim Jordan's like, I didn't see it, but I don't believe it. I'm not gonna look at it, but I'm not going to believe it. You're not going to look at it and you're not going to believe it. It's like the stupidest thing in the world. Like, and again, this is why these people on every issue, you just can't have any legitimate, normal conversation with. These are bad human beings who lie about everything and are so eager and willing to cover up a pedo sex trafficking ring of Epstein and call it a hoax. Then you have Republican Congress member Dan Bacon of Nebraska. He's no longer going to be running. He's not going to seek re-election. He goes, yeah, I think it's unlikely that this was a forged Trump signature, but look, anything is possible. And to me, that's also where someone like a Dan Bacon, is like, occasionally he comes close to saying the right thing, but then he'll like literally do the wrong thing. It's like, we need to be tougher on Ukraine, but I'm going to support whatever Donald Trump does that helps Russia. It's like, all right, idiot. Here, play this clip though.
Don't you want to learn more about Trump's relationship or friendship with Epstein?
No, I want to have Director Patel in next week where we'll ask him about all kinds of things. I haven't seen it. Don't buy it.
Do you think it's believable that someone came in and forged Donald Trump's signature and sent this letter to...
I think unlikely, but anything's possible.
Should they investigate Trump's relationship with Epstein too?
I think it's going to be every file. We're going to push for every file to be made open, and we'll go from there.
Then you've got Donald Trump's creepy son, Eric, and then Eric says... this was what he said yesterday. After we know he drew it. I'm going to tell you, my father doesn't do doodles. He doesn't sketch. I'm Eric Trump. My dad doesn't sketch out any cartoons. He doesn't do anything like that. That's the worst Eric Trump impression. But anyway, here it goes. Let's play it.
Beyond all this stuff, the news story today is that the stupid drawing, that your dad allegedly gave to Epstein. And you and I actually were sitting around joking about this a while back when it first came out. We were like, this is the most absurd stuff in the world. But Mike Johnson is like walking back. Last week he said, he was an FBI asset in the whole prosecution of this. Then he tried to walk it back. So this is like the dumbest thing in the world.
I can tell you my father does not sketch out cartoon drawings. I mean, it's insane. Not to mention Epstein's a lawyer. Said he asked specifically about Donald Trump, and Donald Trump never once came up, and there was no correlation. And it's ironic, given that my father was the very guy that threw him out of the club because he thought he was a scumbag. My father's intuition was actually incredibly right.
Hey everybody, Ben Meiselas here from the Midas Touch Network. I wanted to let you know about my podcast partner, Michael Popak's new law firm. It's called the Popak Firm. Michael Popak's pursuing his dream of starting his own law firm, really based on the popular demand by all the Midas Mighty and legal AFers who are approaching Michael Popak with their cases and saying, can you help us? And at that time, Popak was not able to. So he went out on his own. He started the Popak Firm, where he is now handling catastrophic injury cases like car accident cases, trucking cases, malpractice cases, big negligence cases, wrongful death cases. So if you or someone you know have a case like this, the consultation with Popak's firm is free. Give him a call. See if you have a case. It's thepopakfirm.com, thepopakfirm.com, or you can call 877-POPOK-AF, P-O-P-O-K-A-F. So 1-877-POPOK-AF. Give Michael Popak a call. And I'm really proud of you, Popak. Thanks for all the hard work you're putting in. And then Eric Trump's like, it's like Russia, 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 Russia all over again. The New York Times, they're trying to block me from being a best-selling author. And it's like the news is making up these connections with my daddy and Epstein. Here, play this clip.
Listen, they've tried everything. It's no different than the Russian hoax. I mean, listen, the New York Times, the same people who are going to, by the way, try and do everything they can to keep me from becoming the number one bestseller, you better believe. They were the ones that got Pulitzer Prizes for writing about the Russia hoax, something that was untrue, and they didn't even give back the prizes, right? I mean, this is the level of dementia in the mainstream media, and there's so few people. I mean, you literally have Carl Higbie and about 3 others that get it right every night, and the rest of them. But you know, Carl, people don't buy it anymore. People no longer trust the mainstream media. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about everybody else, and it's why, despite having negative 98% media coverage, my father can still win the popular vote. He can still win every single swing state, and the guy is ultimately back in the most powerful office in the world, doing an incredible job, making us all very proud.
Bro, we know that your dad wrote that letter. I mean, the crazy thing is, of all of the stuff out there too, that letter from Donald Trump to Epstein on Epstein's 50th birthday in 2003, on its face, is a little bit of a nothing burger until Donald Trump so vociferously denies that he had anything to do with it. I mean, look, it's super creepy pull it up. I mean, the stuff that's being said here, where he goes, there must be more in life than having everything. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday. May every day be another wonderful secret. I mean, it's super creepy, but if they had a normal, relationship because they were just rich dudes in Palm Beach and they weren't involved in more, you'd think it would be pretty easy for someone like a Trump to say, hey, look, everybody, everybody was friends with him. I regret that I sent it with him, but everybody knew the guy, and when I found out how bad of a guy he was, I don't like him anymore. But that's not what Donald Trump says, right? Donald Trump's like, he stole the girl from me. He stole them from my spa. Yeah, he stole the girls and sex trafficked underage girls from your spa. Yes, he did. Like Virginia Giuffre. Yes, he did. And that's freaking disgusting that happened, and that's how you're talking about it. Oh, but then MAGA Mike has said that you're the hero in this story, that you were the main confidential informant who you worked with the FBI as a CI and you exposed it. And then MAGA Mike had to walk that back and say that it was common knowledge what I was saying. I didn't mean it in that type of sense. I wasn't really wearing a wire or anything. I did not mean that he was a literal CI. You literally said he was a CI in a very literal sense. But if Trump's the hero in the story, you don't want to release the files where he's the hero? Of course he's not the hero. Of course what's in there is going to be fatal to him. But here's what MAGA Mike Johnson had to say yesterday as he's losing it. Here, play this clip.
What I was referring to in that long conversation was what the victim's attorney said. More than a decade ago, President Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago, and he was one of the only prominent people, as everyone has reported, not President Trump, but everybody about him, that he was willing to help law enforcement go after this guy who was a disgusting child abuser, sex trafficker, all the allegations. That's what they heard. So the president was helpful in that. I don't know if I use the right terminology, but that's common knowledge and everybody knows that. So this is much ado about nothing.
Did the president tell you this specifically?
No, I was recounting what others have said. The president and I have talked about the Epstein evils many times. He's as disgusted by it as everybody else. He has long had a history of acknowledging that, and he has said repeatedly he wants everything to come out, all credible information, everything for the American public to decide.
Was he ever asked to wear a wire or anything like that?
I have no idea. No, I'm not saying that. I have no information about that whatsoever. I was repeating what is common knowledge for a long time. The president was helpful in trying to get Epstein, for the law enforcement to go after Epstein. That's always been my understanding. That's common knowledge. It's the public's understanding. I was not breaking news there, okay? What I'm trying to emphasize is that the president is as disgusted about this as everyone is, all people of good conscience. We heard from the victims last week. It was gut-wrenching to hear their accounts. Many of them came out here and did it to a broader audience, to the public. But there's as many as 1,000 other victims, hundreds of young women, now some of them middle-aged women, who were subjected to these abuses for a long, long time, and justice is long overdue. So we're not just investigating Epstein and what happened, but why the justice system failed these women for so long. That is why the House Oversight Committee is on this so aggressively, and as you saw the latest developments, I think Chairman Comer and some other members are going down to Florida. They're going down to the Epstein estate to look at visitor laws at the estate. By the way, none of this is encompassed in the discharge petition, Gambit. This is what the Oversight Committee is tasked to do. It is what they are doing in a bipartisan fashion. You have very aggressive members on both sides of the aisle that are on it, and we are greatly comforted by that. So we fully support it.
And then you had Democrats pushing back. My guy, my buddy, Democratic Congressmember Ro Khanna, basically saying, I think that J.D. Vance, maybe he should be sued for defamation. Maybe he should he should retract for the statements he made about the Wall Street Journal. Play this clip.
Well, candidly, the lawyers are still going through it, and they first looked for the birthday book. Obviously, they found the letter that the Wall Street Journal reported on. I think the Vice President Vance, should be asked to retract what he said, defaming the Wall Street Journal reporter. He said it was fake. Now we have the letter, and I also hope that the lawsuit will be withdrawn against that journalist, $10 billion lawsuit, now that there is the letter.
Yeah, but of course, J.D. Vance and Matt Gaetz and the whole crew here, they're not going to do that. You have J.D. Vance responding to Caroline Levitt's post where she says, oh, it's a total forgery. This isn't real. This proves that Donald Trump is vindicated. The actual Trump signature proves he's vindicated. That's what I mean. These people are crazy. And then J.D. Vance goes, the Democrats don't care about Epstein. They don't even care about his victims. That's why they were silent about it for years. The only thing they care about is concocting another fake scandal like Russiagate to smear President Trump with lies. No one is falling for this BS. Dude, he invited Putin to Alaska, and then in the Oval Office he holds like love photos up of himself and Putin. And then in the first time he was running for office, he said, Russia, if you're listening to me, find the emails. But setting that aside, just look in the past few weeks. He's like literally like in love with Putin. It's like gross. And he talks about inviting Putin to the FIFA World Cup and how he wants to rekindle his relationship with Putin. It's really weird stuff. Caroline Levitt's posting, the latest piece published by the Wall Street Journal proves this entire birthday card story is false. Wait, proves it's false by showing the actual birthday card with his signature? Like, what are you talking about? I mean, at the end of the day, you have raised so many red flags about Trump's relationship with Epstein based on what we've already known and all of the stuff that I talk about in the Midas Touch Network all the time, from the beauty pageants to the girls that were over to everything that Michael Wolff had said. I'm not going to go and spend another I can just go watch my other videos on this. But Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett says, why lie? The fact that you're lying over this makes it look like you're lying over everything. Here, play this clip.
Do you agree that even if that is his signature, having his signature on the letter doesn't constitute any wrongdoing or illegal action?
No, I think the biggest issue is the fact that he cannot be honest about it, right? Like, why lie? Because it doesn't implicate, right? But the fact that you're lying makes it look like, what else are you lying about? Those are the questions that we have. If you'll lie about something this simple, then when you're trying to tell us that you had nothing to do with these women or these girls, why should we believe you?
And she's so right. Then she also says that one of the areas that she and the Democrats are going to be focusing on are these, and this is what I've been doing lots of videos on, these so-called modeling agencies that Epstein ran, that Trump ran, this guy Jean DeLuc ran, what's the other one? Elite Model Management, that was run by one of their other disgusting buddies who's since died and sexually assaulted all these underage girls. Here's what Congresswoman Crockett has to say about that. Here, play this clip.
And so, like, this idea that he wasn't close to him is crazy, but I do think that it's going to be so important for us to really dig in, because what we are ascertaining is, number one, there were lots of modeling agencies that were doing things, and the modeling agency was basically a farce. And there's a lot of people that we want to talk to, and a lot of these models came from foreign countries. I'm just leave it there.
Anyone specific?
I'm going to leave it there, but I am trying to dig on a certain thread for sure.
And then here is a video that Governor Gavin Newsom posted. Play this clip.
I don't do drawings, but I'm not a drawing person. I don't do drawings of women, that I can tell you. They say there's a drawing of a woman, and I don't do drawings of women.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thank you for watching. New Midas merch. Head to store.midastouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.midastouch.com.